Welcome to the Piston Fanatic. I'm your host, Dave Dalton, and I'm excited to share my passion and perspective of our Detroit Pistons as we go on this fantastic voyage together. I've been a diehard Piston fan since the days of Dave Bing and Bob Lanier. I've also been the varsity basketball coach of a very successful program in northern Michigan. I want to thank you all for listening. Please subscribe and like. Well, our Pistons lost 2 tough games in a row on last-second shots. They come in and they play the Philadelphia 76ers that had all 3 of their guys, Joel Embiid and Paul George and Tyrese Maxey, all healthy and playing. We're playing without our all-star, Cade Cunningham. And what happens? We blow the doors off them. That was a thrilling win. The team shared the ball. A lot of heroes. We had Ausar playing the point. We had Duren was awesome in his minutes. Tobias had a great game. Beasley, though, was the star. He made his 203 of the season. He's going to break the all-time Piston record for most threes in a season. But we're going to talk about Cade in the All-Star game and what team he's on. We're going to talk more about Dennis Schroder and that trade. We're going to talk about a lot of things. So please stay with me. Please, I think you'll find this interesting. We got a jam-packed show for you today. So yeah, it was a huge win for us. We needed it, and we just came out smoking. And like I said, it was a surprise, who was going to start. And here we had no Cade, and it was smart. It was so smart to keep Cade out of this game, even if he could have. So he was trying to play, but he's played a lot of miles on him this year, a lot of workload, and so it was good for him to get a day off. So hopefully he's 100% when we play the Hornets on Sunday. So anyway, we all hustled them. We got offensive rebounds. We shared the ball. We got 30-some assists, and we didn't turn it over too bad. We let them come back a couple times in the second half, but we just played great. And so, yeah, Beasley had 36 points, his career high, 9 for 19 on threes, which is unbelievable. And he takes some tough ones, so it was really cool. So Duren, he only played 20 minutes. He fouled out, guarding Embiid, but he was plus 26. He was by far the highest plus minus on the team. He had 13 rebounds, 13 points, 13 rebounds, and 7 assists in only 20 minutes. So I know JB was smart. JB said before the game that we were going to try to run our offense through him a lot more, because with Embiid guarding him, Embiid's not going to step out and challenge him that much, so he's going to have a better chance to make the passes. But yeah, it was fun, man. Revenge game for Tobias. Tobias, he's not the greatest player. He hasn't shot great for the Pistons. He didn't even shoot. He was supposed to be a floor spacer. He shot 0 threes tonight, and he's, like I said, he's shooting 32% on the year. He's not shot the three well. He never shot that many threes, and so, but he was jumping tonight. I heard he was getting interviewed after the game, and Duren walked by and he said something about young legs or something. But Tobias was getting up higher and quicker than I've ever seen. But he unfairly took so much criticism for what happened with the 76ers. He played solid. He was like 17, 18 points and got rebounds and passed the ball. He was a good, solid player. But at one time, they had him and Jimmy Butler, and they had to decide they couldn't pay them both by paying Embiid, and they had to pay a bunch of other guys. And so they let Butler go, and they paid Tobias. At that, it was like 30-some million a year. And so everybody in Philly just kind of dumped on Tobias and blamed him. But they asked him before the game who he was excited to see, and he said, well, maybe he thought about it, maybe Maxey. But all the guys on the other team came over and talked to him or patted him on the back while he was being interviewed. So he had 22 though. He was tough. He was, like I said, he was playing. He looked sprier than I've seen him look all year. So, but we scored the most points we've scored in the first half since 1982. And if you remember, in 1982, that was the game where we set the scoring record against Denver. It was like a triple overtime, and against the Nuggets in Denver. And we scored like 188 to 186 or something the game was. So that was the most points combined in NBA history. But we scored the most points tonight in the first half since that game. So that was pretty cool. So anyway, there's reports going around that the other teams are all ticked off that the Pistons got Schroder, and they thought he was going to probably go into the buy when Utah. He initially went to Utah in the big trade with Jimmy Butler, and then Pistons traded and got him from Utah. But other teams wanted to nab him off the yeah, when he was free, they would just buyout market. So they assumed Utah would cut him and that they would just buy him out, and then so teams can just pick up guys. So there's some halfway decent good players sometimes that you can pick up in the buyout market, but other teams wanted him. And Trajan says we're excited to have him. He's excited to be here. He's talked to him, and he said, there's even a chance that he um, could stay with us. That he could be with us for a while down the road. He said. So we'll see what happens. But he's a feisty player. He's got lots of confidence. He's not afraid of anybody like a lot of our guys. He's played in a lot of big games internationally and in the NBA. Like I said, he has played on a lot of teams, but it's going to be interesting. I told you in the last podcast about that trade that he was unbelievable. He was close to all-star level playing with the Nets this year. He played like 20 some games with them, and he averaged like 18 and shot really high percentages. And then the Warriors gave up a bunch for him. They gave up a bunch of draft picks and DeAndre Melton, and so they gave up a lot. We gave up nothing basically, second round pick. But yeah, so it's going to be fascinating to see how he gets integrated into the team, and when he gets, they have to pass physicals, and then so they have to practice, with teams, and so it's going to be fun. So now we had all these guys. We had this great game tonight, and then now we got to incorporate Schroder and Cade back in. But just like Ausar says, we're thrilled, and we want to have Cade back as soon as we can. So yeah, I liked hearing what Trajan had to say. You can see that he has confidence in him. But again, I said this on the last podcast. We have nothing to lose. We have 30 games left now. I think exactly 30 games, and so I think we're 500, and I think, but that's more than enough games to get to see if he fits our culture, our chemistry. If we think that when we get Ivy back, that he will be able to still play off the bench and contribute. But we'll have a great idea after those 30 games. And so Ivy is a little update. If you haven't heard already, the update is that he's going to be updated in 4 weeks. So it's not going to be anytime soon if he ever does come back. Most people speculate that he won't be back, but he's transferred into a boot now. He's walking with a boot, and he's doing some workouts in a swimming pool, which is what a lot of people do, so non-weight bearing. But another interesting thing, like I said, Duren was fabulous tonight, even though he fouled out and only played 20 minutes. He made a huge difference out there. But the Lakers called and asked if we would trade him because they needed a center. They got Luka and they traded away Davis, but they wanted a center, and so they called the Pistons to see. And so I don't know what they offered us, but they ended up getting Mark Williams from Charlotte, who's a really good player. He's like 7'2", and he's got a really long arm span, but he plays really great. But in the years that he's been on the team, he came out the same year Duren came out, and he got drafted just after Duren by the Hornets. But they didn't plan on trading him, but it's just that the Lakers offered them a lot. The Lakers overpaid to get him, in my guesstimation. I think in most people's guesstimation. They got Dalton Connect, who's that amazing three-point shooter. They got Cam Reddish, who's just kind of a throw-in, but he's played some decent minutes for them this year for the Lakers. They got a pick swap in 2030, which could end up being a really good pick. The Lakers, not likely though, because if they still have Luka in 2030. But then they get an unprotected Laker pick. So if it's number 1 in 2031, they'll get that pick. So they got a pick swap and a first round pick plus Dalton Connect, who is their last year's first round pick. So that's a lot for Mark Williams. But yeah, I don't know if we could have got that much for him, but I don't know if he turned it down. One of the things I love to know, we get, some people get excited or some people get mad or about what deals we didn't make, but what we never will know is what was offered. And we don't know what opportunities we had. Some people thought we should have made a bigger move. I think we did a good job for what we ended up getting. But yeah, it was a fun night tonight. If you don't like this team, you don't like any team. So they're fun to watch. They have a lot of spirit. They have a lot of camaraderie together. They play well. Together. They play hard. They never give up. Even when so many games this year they've gotten way behind. So anyway, Cade is going to be in the 3-point contest, which is weird to me. When we had Beasley, Threesley, he should be in the 3-point contest, not Cade. It's fine that Cade is, but Cade's been struggling from three lately. He's been shooting. He's had a good year shooting threes until just the last couple of weeks. So that was an interesting thing. And I know it's not just because they're cheap to not fly him there, because there's other guys in the contest that aren't in All-Star weekend. Sometimes it's just easy to get guys to do those competitions like that if they're an All-Star. And some guys have even said, I'll be in the competition if I'm on the team. But anyway, Cade's going to be in that. But he got picked by Kenny the Jet Smith. They let the three TNT guys, Shaq and Kenny Smith and Charles Barkley, pick the teams. And it was a weird little draft they had. And I think Charles has got the best team. I mean, I can't believe he got the Joker, Giannis, Shea. So the three top guys in for the MVP are all on his team. Plus, his fourth pick in the fourth round was Wemby. And so then they got his last pick was Karl Anthony Towns. So they got a huge team. But Kenny's strategy was to get young guys who were going to play hard, because most guys don't want to play hard. They're too cool. Shaq got all Hall of Famers. They got LeBron and Steph and Kevin Durant, and you got a bunch of older guys. So it will be fascinating to see how it all plays out, and to see if our guys, the younger guys, come scrapping out, because he got Kenny picked Cade and Anthony Edwards and Jay Will, that plays for the OKC, that's really scrappy, and Jaren Jackson Jr., who's been fabulous this year. He's a 3-point shooter and a shot blocker, so he can space the floor. And then Garland, who beat us with the half-court shot, he's good. And Evan Mobley, who was phenomenal against us and had 20 in the first half and scored 30 against us. And they got Tyler Hero, who's had great games against us. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how, hopefully, it would be fun if Cade's team could win the tournament so we could get to watch him twice. But let's talk about our team a little bit more, about Ausar. Again, 27 minutes. He was 5 for 7, 4 for 6 on free throws. He didn't attempt a three, but he had 8 rebounds and 6 assists and a steal. And so he had 14 points. And so that was huge. And again, JB and Cade and other people have talked about that they should try to use him, that they planned on trying to use him more to handle the ball and create some offense for our team. And so he certainly did. He's a cool guy and played great tonight. And Tobias Harris, so I was really happy for him, because they booed him in Philly when we played there, but he had 38 minutes he played. He was 8 for 16 and 6 for 6 from free throws, which is really efficient. 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 22 points. So great game for Tobias. I said during 20 minutes, 5 for 7, 3 for 3 on free throws. So 13 rebounds, 5 offensive rebounds. He's always down there scrapping. 7 assists for Jalen Duren. So, yeah, it was a big game for him. Glad we didn't trade him. So, Hardaway didn't have a great game. 31 minutes, 2 for 9, 2 for 8 on threes. So, he struggled a little bit. He was great last game, but he had 6 points. Sasser, 28 minutes, the most maybe he's played all year. 3 for 9 from the overall, 2 for 5 on threes. So he had 5 assists and 9 points. Malik Beasley he started, played 38 minutes, 13 for 23 overall, 9 for 19, like I said earlier, from 3. 1 for 3 from the free throw line. He doesn't seem like he shoots good free throws. I need to look up his percentage, but for a guy that's that amazing, one of the most amazing shooters in the league this year, to struggle from the line, it doesn't make sense. But I think he practices threes all the time. I don't think he practices free throws that often, probably. That was my best guess. But anyway, he was sensational. like I said, career high 36 points. He wants to stay here, and like I said, he said that he told that to Trajan, and Trajan said that means something, and that's who guys that you want, and I will not be surprised. I think what we need to give him will be the mid-level exemption. So I think that's is my best guess. So he makes, I think that's about 13 million a year. So I would guess that we probably offer him like 3 years for like the mid-level exemption. So we'll see what happens. But Holland didn't have one of his better games. 14 minutes, 1 for 5, 1 for 3 on threes, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 3 points. B-ball Paul. So the end of the third quarter, things are starting to go the other way in their favor. And he comes in, he plays 7 minutes, and he gets a basket. He has 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 1 block. And he's just a whirlwind out there. And so he had 2 points, but he was amazing. And he just made a little 5-0 run he created he got the steal, he got a pass to somebody for an easy shot, and he just is everywhere. Every time he goes in the game, he makes things happen. But Embiid scored 23 points. 20 of them were in the third quarter. So, and he's a weird dude. But my guy Quentin Grimes, he just got traded from Dallas to the 76ers, and he did the walkthrough with them this morning, but that was his first practice with them. But he played 28 minutes. He was 5 for 9 and 2 for 5 on threes and had 14 points. I said, I mean, we got a lot of good players, but he's 24 years old, and he D's up, and he blocked one of Beasley's shots, and he drew a foul on Sasser, an offensive foul. But anyway, look to the future, Dave. So, yeah, this whole season has been a historical turnaround. It's every year. I've done research on this before. Every year, there's one team in the league that wins way more games than they did the year before. That goes like plus 20, wins 20 games than they did the year prior. Every year, almost, and throughout for a long time, it's happened. But we are going to blow that out of the water. This is going to be one of the most biggest historical turnarounds in NBA history. So. But JB said that this is one of our best wins, and that he loves the way that they played together, and it was a big team win. We're probably going to keep Waters that we got in the trade. I'm not sure how much he's going to contribute. Like I said, the problem with, he's had some good moments in the NBA where he's made big shots and made threes. He's 27, so he's kind of, and he's just starting to get really his first chance to play. But I don't see where the minutes are going to go. We can't play. We need to play Ausar and Holland instead of him, no matter what. So that's my opinion. So again, we're playing the Hornets Sunday at 1. They just beat the Spurs tonight by 117 to 116, and Bridges had 25, and LaMelo had 24. So he's probably going to want to show out to show that he should have been on the All-Star game instead of Cade. Who knows? But sad thing, Wendell Moore Jr., the NBA is a tough place. All these guys are so good, and these guys that don't even get into games. And Wendell Moore Jr., not every game, but most of the time that he got in his few little minutes and blowouts, he played remarkably well. And he played in a couple games where we were shorthanded, so we needed to have him come in. But he seemed like he had such a great attitude. The guys liked him. He played hard, and it just is always sad when you lose a guy. But yeah, it was fun night, fun season. There's still going to be ups and downs, but we want to beat the Hornets. They're playing without Mark Williams, so they lost their big guy in the middle, and so they're playing with that one a big guy that played at Michigan that was real active, and he plays center for them some too. So we'll see. But again, anyway, always thank you so much for listening. Thank you for letting me share this season with you. It's been great so far, and it's going to be a fun ride. So hang in there with me. And if you know anybody that's a Piston fan, please let them know about this podcast. I really would appreciate it. And do something good for somebody else. You might be the only person around that will do it for them. So go Pistons.